our special focus on the farmers' protests. We shift now to the legal aspect of it and what Supreme Court actually said about the continuing farmer protests, and of course taking cognizance of the murderous clash that took place in Lakhimpur Kheri, where initially a car mowed down 4 farmers in retaliation when violence unfolded. 4 other people, including a journalist and 3 BJP workers, were also killed. The Supreme Court expressed regret over the violence, calling it unfortunate, and the top court said that nobody really takes responsibility when something like this happens. I completely agree and understand where the top court is coming from. But then they raised a very important issue. And the question that they asked the farmer groups was, when the laws are suspended, then why are you going on holding these protests? That was actually a very significant question that they asked. They also went on to say that damage to property, physical damage happens every time, and then no one takes responsibility. Why protest when the law isn't even in force at all? Now, there are multiple cases which are in the courts linked to the farmers' agitation and the farm laws. This specific comment was made during a hearing which is on a plea petition that's been filed by the Kisan Mahapanchayat. They are seeking permission to hold a protest in Jantar Mantar. So this Kisan Mahapanchayat wants to do a Gandhian version of a protest at Jantar Mantar, and they've gone to the courts to seek permission. There are other petitions also, those basis which notices have been issued to over 30-40 farmer leaders in the protests that they've been holding all over the place. There is a bunch of petitions that have been filed challenging the constitutional validity of the farm laws as well. Now, the court is cognizant of all of this, and repeatedly when the issue of protests comes up and protests blocking roads, dharnas on roads, impacting other life comes, the court always says, well, you cannot block highways perpetually. This is something that they even said during the CAA, anti-CAA and NRC protests, that you cannot block the roads perpetually, and that we have laid down the law on protests, and it is up to the executive to implement this law. So technically the court's very clear that nobody should be allowed to block for a long term, block any road. The farmers' argument is that we aren't even blocking. We are not the ones who are putting up the barricades. We are not the ones who are taking up the space for traffic. We are not the ones who are stopping anybody's movement. That's the law and order authorities. That's the local police. That's the government. If you remember, the government once went ahead and actually put up nails and wires and cement blocks and dug up the roads just to stop the farmers. So the farmers are saying, why are you blaming us? Because we are not really the ones who block the roads. Irrespective, there is a big debate going on the farmers' right to protest, where they should be able to protest, and the validity of the laws, and whether there is a link between the fact, or there should be a link between the fact that since the court is hearing that case, the farmers shouldn't be protesting. I say good evening to Tuhin Sinha of the BJP, Desh Ratan Nigam, lawyer with the Supreme Court, Harveer Singh, editor for ruralvoice.in, Mr. Kailash Vasudev, senior advocate with the Supreme Court, joining us this evening. I'll also have Brajesh Bhati, National General Secretary for Kisan Ekta Sangh, also joining us in just a bit. But let me actually start off with Mr. Desh Ratan Nigam. Mr. Nigam, repeatedly when the issue of protest comes, the Supreme Court turns around and says, well, you can't block roads and it's up to the government. So would you say we should hold the government responsible for these blockades that take place, or should the court really come up with another solution?
Since the matter is sub judice before court, and everything is before court, including the road blockade, because of the judgment passed in the Shaheen Bagh case by Justice S.K. Kaul, and the validity of the laws have also been challenged before the court. So everything is sub judice before the court, and therefore court is seized of the matter and well within its right to comment the way they have commented today. And let me tell you factually, I live near Ghazipur border, and the 2 sides of the road coming from Ghaziabad to Delhi have been clearly occupied and blocked by the farmers, the so-called farmers. There are hutments, there are camps and everything on the road. So no, not even a car can come. And to say that the It is the police which has been blocking it. That is a very unfortunate statement, far away from the truth. And today I was, took me 2 hours to reach my home, and I missed one or two TV programs as well. And the fact remains that the issue is quite complex in the sense Supreme Court has to go into the question, and they have really framed the question whether the right to protest is absolute. In my opinion, no, because not a single fundamental right is absolute because there are reasonable restrictions to it. And you can't, by your claiming right to a fundamental right, you cannot affect the rights of others. That's also very clear by Katina or judgments on the issue. And so far, the second issue is concerned, when the matter is sub judice, should people protest or not? This is a complex question, and there could be arguments on both the sides. But the court is seized of the matter, and it's a very interesting question because in a democracy, protest is your right. And when a matter is sub judice, should you leave your claims and rights about peaceful protest? I'm talking about peaceful protest. And therefore, it's a very, very interesting question. And in my opinion, the petitioners who have approached the court and challenged the validity of the court, at least they cannot participate. And therefore, in order to fix the accountability and responsibility of the people, farm leaders who are leading this agitation, the notice has been issued by Justice S.K. Kaul's bench so that there is some kind of an accountability to the court and to the people at large, that you cannot be sailing in two boats. You cannot be saying that some have challenged and some have not challenged, therefore they are participating. Hence, it's a very good move. Let them come before the court and let them also be very, very clear that you cannot be, hiding behind a curtain at the same time. And you have to be transparent, very clear before the court what is your stand is. And I've always maintained there are only two ways of handling this situation, either through parliament if you have strength, raised through private members' bill or through political parties, or in a court of law. And what we saw that the Supreme Court appointed committee was boycotted by farmers. 12 rounds of arguments and the discussions took place with the government. Government suggested 9 or 10 changes, but they said no, my way or the highway. Let us see how Supreme Court deals with this situation.
Okay, we'll take it, in two different aspects, like you also mentioned. On the first one, let me say good evening to Brijesh Bhati. Brijesh Bhati, सवाल ये उठता है और बीजेपी का भी यही कहना है और हमारे साथ एक लॉयर बैठे हैं आरएसएस बैकर देश रत्न निगम, उनका भी यही कहना है कि आपको सरकार से बात भी नहीं करनी लॉज चेंज करने के लिए कि पूरे लॉज रिपील करो, नहीं तो कुछ नहीं होगा। आपको सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय का इंतजार भी नहीं करना कि ये लॉ सही है कि नहीं, इनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैलिडिटी क्या है, और आपको महीने पर महीने जो है प्रोटेस्ट करते चले जाना है जिससे लोगों को इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है। तो ये क्या सही तरीका है?
तानवी जी, हमें कोई शौक नहीं पड़ा है पिछले 10 महीने से यहाँ बैठने का। और रही बात सरकार की, सरकार ने जब भी हमें बुलाया है हम वार्ता के लिए गए हैं। देश के प्रधानमंत्री कहते हैं कि हम एक फोन कॉल की दूरी पर हैं, लेकिन आज तक वो कॉल नहीं आई है। देश का अन्नदाता उस कॉल का इंतजार कर रहा है। हमारी 750 लोग इसमें शहीद हो गए हैं। और आपने 2 दिन पहला प्रकरण देख लिया किस तरह किसानों पर गाड़ियां चलाकर, गोले चलाकर उनकी हत्याएं कर दी गई हैं। किसान पीड़ित है, प्रभावित है, इसलिए अपनी जमीन और जमीन को बचाने की लड़ाई लड़ रहा है। हमें कोई चीज का कोई कतई शौक नहीं है। और रही बात उसकी कि हमने कोई भी रास्ता बंद नहीं किया है। जो भी रास्ते बंद किए हुए हैं दिल्ली पुलिस ने किए हुए हैं। हर रास्ते में 1.5 से 2-2, 3-3 फुट के गड्ढे हैं, इसलिए रास्ते बाधित हो रहे हैं। और हमारे जितने भी जहां भी हमारे आंदोलन चल रहे हैं, धरने चल रहे हैं, सबके बराबर से रास्ता दिया हुआ है। जो माननीय आदरणीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट जी ने कहा है कि रास्ते बंद किए हैं, किसान ने कहीं कोई रास्ता बंद नहीं किया। कानून वापसी की बात है, इन्होंने कहा था कि भाई हम जो है इनमें बदलाव करेंगे। मुझे ये बता दीजिए, जिस कानून में 22 में से 20 बिंदु खराब हो तो उस कानून में बचा ही क्या है? हम ये कह रहे हैं इनको रद्द कर दीजिए, फाड़ के फेंक दीजिए, टेबल में बैठ के एक नए कानून सब लोग बैठ के बनाएंगे जिससे देश का भविष्य तय होगा। लेकिन कोरोना काल में इन कानूनों को लाने का दायित्व क्या था? जब इससे पहले कानून आए नहीं, उससे पहले वेयर हाउस बन गए। इसका मतलब क्या था? इसका मतलब सीधा सीधा अडानी अंबानी को लाभ पहुंचाना है और इससे ज्यादा इन कानूनों का कोई मतलब नहीं है। इसमें किसान की जमीन छिन जाएगी, ये सच्चाई है। और इसमें ये काले कानून इसलिए हैं कि काले समय में आए हैं, जिस समय व्यक्ति अपने घर में बंद था, कोरोना काल में, जिस समय व्यक्ति अपनी जान और जीवन को बचाने की लड़ाई लड़ रहा था, उस समय ये लोग इन कोरोना काल में इन कानूनों को लाए हैं।
लेकिन
तो
ये
इनकी मंशा
बताएं
साफ
ब्रजेश
होती है।
भाटी, और जो ये 3 कानून है और उनका क्या नुकसान होगा और क्या फायदा होगा, इसके बारे में तो हम चर्चा करते चले आ रहे हैं, और अब ये शायद या तो सरकार डिसाइड करेगी या सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगा। लेकिन मुझे ये बताएं, आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि जब ये कानून को सस्पेंड कर दिया गया है तो आप क्यों प्रोटेस्ट करते चले जा रहे हैं?
सस्पेंड कहाँ हुआ है? मंडियां, एक बात तो बताइए, कहाँ मंडियों में खरीद हो रही है? कहाँ एमएसपी पे खरीद हो रही है? कहाँ पर जो है आप 17 मध्य प्रदेश के कई उदाहरण हैं जहां पर व्यापारी ने किसान के साथ समझौता करा और उसके पैसे को लेके भाग गया। बहुत सारी चीजें हैं। कानून की जो प्रभाविता है वो प्रभावित किसान होना शुरू हो गया है। इससे सरकार की नीति जो थी किसान को प्रभावित करने की, इन कानून से प्रभावित होना शुरू हो गया है। आप देख लीजिए, हिमाचल प्रदेश में से एक व्यापारी आया, सेब के 5 से 7 लाख रुपए का नुकसान करके चला गया। इसी तरह से जहां जहां जो फसलें हो रही हैं वहां किसी कानून का नुकसान हो रहा है। ये प्रभावित तरह से, कहीं एमएसपी पे धान नहीं खरीदी जा रही, कहीं गेहूं नहीं खरीदे जा रहा। मंडियों में जो हमने कहा है कि भाई 2 अक्टूबर तक हमारे यहाँ धान खरीद लिए जाए, लेकिन वो भी नहीं खरीदा गया। जब किसान ने, संयुक्त किसान मोर्चा ने इनको चेताया, इनके मंत्री को चेताया, वहां के मुख्यमंत्री को चेताया, तो जब धान की खरीद शुरू हुई है। इनसे साफ झलकता है कि करनी और करनी में बहुत फर्क है। इसलिए किसान पिछले 10 महीने से आंदोलित है।
Okay, let's bring in other panelists as well. And to Mr. Harveer Singh, this question, Mr. Harveer Singh, the constant battle is about who's creating trouble with these protests and the barricades and the blockades. Can we say that the farmers are the ones who are blocking it, over a long-term period, or is it the law and order? Because at the end of the day, even the Supreme Court now seems to be getting a little agitated as to, we've already told you what the law is, why don't you do something about it?
I think it's more or less a land order problem. When farmers started and decided to come to Delhi and to start their agitation in Ramlila Maidan, farmers were stopped on the borders of Delhi, on the 4 side or 3 side. And after that, a lot of, or basically some ways were open for commuter was coming and going, but after 26 January, unfortunate incident, which became very, basically on this thing, all the borders were sealed properly, barricades were raised, concrete structures were created, and barbed wires were put. So now it is like that.
And to the other aspect, Mr. Kailash Vasudev, Deshratan Nigam was also, mentioning this. The Supreme Court says if the laws are in suspension, then why are you protesting? What is your view on this? Because this may get, further discussed and debated in the courts as well.
No, actually, you're right that laws are suspended. The implementation is not there. So basically, now issue is that those who are protesting against these laws, the major unions, the 40 organizations, they've created this Sanयुkt Kisan Morcha. They have not been part to any application to the court. Some organization went to the court, and then court formed a 3-member committee. In fact, it was originally 4-member committee. 1 member resigned, Mr. Maan, Bhupinder Singh Maan. 3 members are there, and this committee submitted its report to the Supreme Court within the period it was assigned to the committee. But still, nobody knows what is in the recommendation of the committee. Even, in fact, recently, one of the members of the committee wrote a letter to Chief Justice of India that our recommendation should make be public, whether we are able to resolve or what kind of recommendation are there to resolve the issue. Another important point is that on the legality of the laws, there is no, I think, discussion happened in the Supreme Court. Court just formed a committee and said till further order, acts are basically will not be implemented, suspended. Now central government is also saying, but has there any time central government approached the court that come out with a final order on this?
Actually, no, because we were also trying to find out. We were actually trying to find out what's happened to that here, case since the last hearing which took place in January. So we obviously we know that the government isn't talking to farmers since then. We also know that the committee, did a series of meetings in January and February and nothing since then. And we're not too sure if hearings were held on the petitions challenging the constitutional validity as well. But in this case, Mr. Kailash Vasudev, to you this question that I asked earlier, what's your view on how this should be seen?
See, we have driven our economy into a very piquant situation. Today, with the cost of living indices where they are, and the fear factor which is prevailing within the farmers, it is taking a turn which is absolutely strange. Government says we will give you everything which you want, but we will not have middlemen in the picture. Farmers turn around and say, all this is very good, but what about our basic price? Because they're not even giving us a minimum support price. Now, this matter has been pending in the court. Committee has been appointed. Committee, the members have been making public statements. The farmers have been on edge all over the capital. I do not know about other parts of the country. There's a very sad incident which took place in the Lakhimpur area yesterday. But you see, look at it in a totally different perspective. Perspective is farmers' demands, saying, please protect our lands, please protect our rights. The government stand is, we will give you everything, but we will regulate it in a different manner. I think this is the right case. Personally speaking, in the larger interests of the farmers, in the larger interest of the nation, because the recent reports that many farmers are quitting farming and moving over to the other sources of income is a very disturbing trend. The conversion of land into highways and for other purposes is another very troublesome area. We are reducing available agricultural land in proportions which will eventually cause us difficulties. This, in my opinion, is a fit case where there should be a very high-level mediation. The courts should look into this issue and not keep it in abeyance anymore. Clearing farmers on the roads, clearing farmers away from agitations is not an answer. The answer is sit across, discuss it, because please understand, our rural population is more than 50% of our population, out of which 30% are farmers, small-time farmers. If you don't protect their interests, you are not going to do anybody a favor in the long term. Courts also must wake up to the fact, instead of procrastinating this issue, decide it this way or that, or sort it out. Because the moment you are going to procrastinate, because these writ petitions are filed in January, we are 10 months down the track. A committee was appointed for the purpose of a settlement. I don't see the settlement coming about. So therefore, take up the matter. Instead of deciding merely on the fact that the roads are blocked or farmers are agitated, decide the validity of these three acts and take a course. Otherwise, this will carry on. You will have a tendency for everybody to feel hurt, aggrieved, and disturbed. That is not the intent of any law. That is not the purpose of governance. That is not the intent of the man on the street, namely the farmer.
Yes, and even if you had to say, for example, if the government believes, Tuhin Sinha, that these laws are actually going to be beneficial for the small farmers, it's just the large farmers, the rich farmers who are making the noise, you still have to find your way to get everybody on board so that you can officially implement these laws. They are in suspension and we are active as if we don't care.
You know, Tanvi, on a day when the Honorable Supreme Court has passed some of its most scathing comments against these protests, I must say I'm missing Yogendra Yadav and my friend Ghanshyam Tiwari on your show. I think the comments are self-explanatory. Insofar as the efforts of the government is concerned, 11 rounds of conversation, at the end of which, what did we see? The ransacking of the Red Fort. Even today we are open for protest. But if you put down the condition that there is nothing to negotiate except that these farm laws need to be taken back, let the Supreme Court decide, which is precisely what the Honorable Supreme Court is saying, that we are the ones who will decide upon the validity of the laws. So, you know, I mean, if you go through the judgment of today, by implication, what it simply means is that this is a farcical protest by Andolan Jeevis, and all those political parties which have been supporting it are indulging in intellectual dishonesty. When I say this, I will point out the Contractual Farming Act of Punjab passed in 2013. If you go through the provisions, there are far stricter provisions of penalty and of arrest in case there is a breach of contract. They never protest against it. So, I mean, this explains the hypocrisy. We are still very much open to discussions. In fact, all those apprehensions and fears that they have, including the gentleman over here, the respected farmer, who again refers to Adani and Ambani, which is such a presumptuous thing. So I think all of these apprehensions have been allayed. But when you insist it's my way or the highway, it becomes, a dialogue becomes untenable.
The apprehensions haven't been allayed to him because the protests are continuing. 8 people are dead, including 4 farmers, 3 BJP workers, and 1 journalist. They are dead. The protests are going on in various parts of these northern states, and so obviously the matter isn't resolved. The courts hasn't decided anything. The government has gone silent. Let's leave that for a bit. Let's talk about what the court is saying. You are rightly highlighting that the court has said some very scathing comments about the protests which are taking place. But they have now, at least in 3 instances, and Mr. Nigam maybe will be able to add to it, at least in 3 different instances said that we've made the law very clear. You cannot permanently block the roads. And the government has all the power to remove them. So why aren't you? It's just very politically convenient to keep villainizing the farmers but not doing anything about it.
Just for a moment, just for your information, I'm sorry, I'm coming in. There are judgments of the Supreme Court starting from almost 1996 that public demonstrations on roads are prohibited. In 2015, very scathing comments were made in Jayaraman's case. So therefore, the holding of demonstrations for any purpose, today it is the farmers, tomorrow it can be anyone else. It has been surrounding Delhi, it was in the Jamia Millia areas. These have been totally frowned upon and proscribed by the courts, and rightly so. Demonstrations can take place in different places, but you cannot block highways. It affects the national economy, and it affects the rights of people who are going to work. So this is the dichotomy of the situation. Have your negotiations, have them in any manner that you want, but don't cause inconvenience to the citizens. That's what the Supreme Court has said. I think Mr. Nigam is aware of these judgments.
Yes. So Tuhin Sinha, the onus repeatedly has been put on the executive.
No, so I'm asking, I maintain my stand. 95% of the farmers of this country are sincere, diligent farmers who are working in their farmlands. The reason why we have a record output of food grains today.
What are the other 5% of farmers?
Tikayat, unfortunately, he may be representing the farmers for you. He does not represent 100% of the farmers. He does not represent 5% of the farmers.
But the 5% of the farmers have an issue with the laws, or they don't have an issue with the laws?
Regressive path, these reforms were needed. We are open for discussion. But when you bring it to the point that it's my way or the highway, you take back the farm laws or we will not stop the protest, that is when, it becomes untenable to continue the dialogue process.
Okay. So the dialogue is not the way forward. That just leaves us with the option of some hope in Supreme Court and Supreme Court doing something about it. Let me bring in Brajesh Bhatti. Brajesh Bhatti कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं क्योंकि बीजेपी का कहना है कि ये कह देना किसानों का कि सिर्फ या तो वापस ले लो लॉस, नहीं तो कोई बात नहीं होगी, आंदोलन चलता रहेगा. इस तरीके से बातचीत नहीं हो सकती.
किसानों का यही कहना है कि भाई बातचीत हो, लेकिन शर्तें लगा के ना हो.
पर शर्तें तो आपने भी लगा दी हैं कि पहले लॉस वापस ले लो.
सुनिए, पहले शर्त इनके कृषि मंत्री लगाते हैं. वो कहते हैं कि पहले अगर बिल तो वापस होंगे नहीं, आपको वार्ता करनी, आप वार्ता कर लीजिए. इस तरह से वार्ता नहीं होती. हमने 10 बार वार्ता की, 11 बार की, 12 बार की और 24 बार भी करने के लिए तैयार हैं. लेकिन शर्तें लगा के किसान कभी इनसे वार्ता नहीं करेगा, ये ध्यान रखें. और आप देख रहे होंगे जिस तरह से प्रकरण किसानों के साथ कर रहे हैं, किसानों पर गाड़ियां चढ़ा रहे हैं, किसानों में गोलियां मार रहे हैं, लाठी मार के हत्या कर रहे हैं, तो कहीं दिखता नहीं है कि ये कानूनों को वापस लेने वाले हैं. इनके मंत्री के खिलाफ, इनके उसके मंत्री के बेटे के खिलाफ FIR हुई है. 5 शहीद हुए हैं, पत्रकार शहीद हुआ है. इससे बड़ी निंदनीय घटनाएं हो नहीं सकती. और आपने देख लिया हरियाणा में क्या हुआ, लाठियां मारकर एक SDM ने, एक तालिबानी SDM ने आदेश देकर किसान को मरवा दिया. क्या आपको लगता है कि ये कानूनों को वापस लेने की नीतियां हैं इनकी? ये खाली किसान गुमराह कर रहे हैं और इनकी कोई नीति नहीं है. अगर इनकी नीतियां होती तो प्रधानमंत्री जी विदेश जाके, महाराष्ट्र जाके, गुजरात जाके किसानों से मिलते हैं, और इनके घर के बाहर 15 किलोमीटर की दूरी पे किसान बैठा है, वहां प्रधानमंत्री जी नहीं जाते। 750 सादत हो गई, एक भी इनका कोई मंत्री, सांसद, कोई गृह मंत्री, कोई मुख्यमंत्री एक किसान की सादत पर नहीं बोला। तो ये किसान विरोधी लोग हैं, ये कभी नहीं चाहते कि किसान का विकास हो।
पर आप ये नहीं सोचते और इस बात को मानते कि अगर किसान कहेंगे कि आप कानून वापस ले लीजिए पूरे के पूरे और यही उसके आगे चर्चा नहीं होगी, तो ये भी तो एक तरीके से आपकी शर्त है और जिद है।
नहीं, हमारी शर्त नहीं है। हमने ये कहा है कि ये कानून गलत है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट मान चुका है और इनके मंत्री मान चुके हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अभी नहीं माना है कि कानून गलत है।
उन्होंने कहा है। कमेटी किस लिए बनाई थी, आप बता दीजिए मुझे।
देखने के लिए कि आपके क्या प्रॉब्लम है, ताकि आप आके उनसे बात कर सके, पर वो भी कोई नहीं कर रहा।
समाधान के लिए, इस मामले का समाधान के लिए
कर रहे थे, जो इन कानूनों के समर्थन कर रहे थे। तो इसलिए किसान का पीछे हटने का एक यही है कि भाई या तो इन कानूनों को वापसी हो, एमएसपी पे कानून बने, किसान अपने घर चला जाए। किसान को कोई शौक नहीं है पिछले 10 महीने से पड़े रहने का। किसान का परिवार है, किसान के बच्चे हैं, सभी लोग या परेशान है। और अब ऐसी कृत्य हो लगे हैं इस देश में जिसे देख के मानवता शर्मसार हो रही है। जिंदे लोगों पर गाड़ियां चढ़ाई जा रही हैं, जिंदे लोगों में गोलियां मारी जा रही हैं। आज मैं वही था पूरे दिन, हमने पूरा प्रकरण देखा है किस तरह से वहां पर लोगों के साथ हुआ है। इनके गृह
Tanvi, can I come in?
Yes, yes, go ahead, please.
Let me make it very, very clear. People who are thinking that nothing was done before these laws had come. 2018, there was a select committee of parliament where there were 27 members, of which 10 or 12 were BJP members, and rest of them were from all other opposition parties. And unanimously, they decided in that committee that these laws should be passed in May. And there were people who have put it in their manifesto and have agreed to implement them. Now, when this is implemented, then they have a problem. And there was CM's committee on this. There was Agriculture Minister's committee on this. There was secretaries' committees on this of all these states, and unanimous decisions for implementing these laws. Government of India has made a budgetary allocation for creating 10,000 FPOs to organize farmers so that they are not exploited. So all these steps are towards the right direction. There are some people whose interest I can understand is getting harmed, whether they are agents, aratiyas, or rich farmers. They need to understand that they need to adjust to these laws so that they can finally become a part of the system and benefit out of it also. And if you don't have any strength in the parliament, you're saying सब मिलके हम लोग laws बनाएंगे. सबने मिलके ही parliament से pass किया. More than 700, parliamentarians have passed this law. Please remember that 700 is not a small strength. That is how parliamentary democracy functions. And then if you have to challenge, we have already gone before the court, we've challenged the validity, and therefore, at least have faith in the process of the courts. As lawyers, let me tell you, when we represent, we tell the clients, and therefore, you have to trust your courts.
Okay,
you can't say
okay, in fact, basically, and I agree with you partially on this. Let me highlight what the response has been from some of the leaders who are supporting this farmers movement. Mr. Kailash Vastev, the argument is for example, Samyukt Kisan Morcha says, we are not even getting into the validity of the farm laws. Constitutional validity may be there, may not be there. The Supreme Court is there to judge it. Our protest and our issue is with the negative impact this is going to have on the farmers. Now, if that is their core issue, then who do they go to when the government won't talk to them and the court is not exploring it? They're not even actually literally going to the court because the court can't decide on whether the laws will help farmers or not.
See, it's like this. The facet which is most important in these three amendments or these three new laws is, it is basically an economic policy for the benefit or for the farmers. I won't say benefit, I'll say for the farmers. If it's an economic policy, what you are doing is under the old system or the old regime, you have the market committees. The market committees are the ones which have been playing with the farmers. Today, you have a situation where there's a fear in the farmer that he will not be able to sell his produce in the open market, which is, to my mind, reading the acts, it is not there. Coming to your specific question, Insofar as the farmer is concerned, he has gone to court, whether it is 1 or half or 1% or whatever percentage have gone to court and have sought relief. The appropriate thing, as I said, is let them wait for a decision of the court, and then we will see what happens. You cannot possibly say the matter is pending in court and I'm stopped and the government is not implementing it, because the Supreme Court has said, please do not act on these laws till we don't take a decision. And so far, there has been a status quo on that. The second aspect is an economic policy. It's a matter which is court. Government's view is that these farm laws are for the benefit of the farmers. Percentage of the farmers say it is not for their benefit. Let it be tested. Let's stop all what is happening on the ground and all over the place, because someone is funding these farmers. You can't have 70, 80,000 people being fed every day on a continuous pattern for a year. There is some money coming in from someplace. A poor farmer can't afford it. He can't afford to have 2 meals a day in the present circumstances from what we are hearing on your show. So the funding is from outside. Let us ask the funders, fund them for the purposes of defending themselves in court and stop this practice. It is not easy to see what is happening around here.
Well, yes. Mr. Kailash Raziv, I'm not too sure about where the funding is coming from. One would have hoped that in these 10 months, the government would have found this answer, since they very vehemently believed it was the Khalistanis who were funding them. But we also have to keep in mind that many of them are politically aligned and are from different states. If it was Punjab in the beginning, it was then Haryana for the longest time, and then now it's Uttar Pradesh, which is also going to elections.
You have just answered it. So the funding is not by farmers. That is where the anxiety is. I could understand if it was an agitation by the farmers, for the farmers, of the farmers.
But the issues may be of the farmers, but they are protesting by their own will for it.
For that, you are in court. Ask for the hearings. Why do this? Why wait for so much money to come in for your purposes? It is, you see, it's dichotomous.
Okay.
It's dichotomous with the most serious nature.
Let me bring in Harveer Singh, who wanted to make a point as well.
No, actually, I have to go back to Mr. Desrattam Nigam's point. Who all were consulted before bringing these laws? You know, majority of them were basically big corporates. I know the things much better because I'm covering this sector since last 35 years. Big companies were consulted. No major farmer organization was consulted before bringing the law. It was definitely in the time of Corona and lockdowns. I have spoken a lot with the officials and those who have drafted the law. It came suddenly. And if you say that earlier committee, Chief Minister's Committee and Parliamentary Committee and Model APMC Act, no. If you go back to the rule book and if you find out with the states, almost more than 20 states implemented majority of the recommendation of Model APMC Act. It is already there. Many states allowed private mandis also. But suddenly you bring 3 law as a bouquet and even without consulting the stakeholders. And who it means you consider the stakeholders are the bigger part companies, corporates, not the farmers. You are not even able to show even almost after 1 year to show that who all were the farmers organization consulted. So that is my point. Another point, it is very unfortunate. It is easy to blame that farmers are being funded and these farmers are not real farmers. Come, go to the people, go to the villages. It's not that it is all over the country, but go to the Punjab, to Haryana, to Western UP, Tarai. You will find the ordinary farmers are coming. They're contributing a little bit from their
how is an ordinary farmer who would otherwise struggle to make ends meet and would have to till really hard in his fields to earn that money, how is he managing to do this?
You know, agriculture is a different kind of, it is not a manufacturing 24/7. Agriculture crop cycles are is a different kind of natural process. So you see, one time you are just sowing the crop, then need not to be there in the field for next 20 days. And farmers are coming, and it is not that the number of farmers as it was earlier, not the same number is there, but definitely some symbolically farmers are there. You cannot say there is no disconnect about the agitation among the farmers. Definitely some people must be supporting the farmer, like langars are being done by all these gurudwaras and all.
Yes.
And you are right that the majority of the farmers are not able to sustain with such a small income and they cannot contribute in a big way. Recent assessment survey from NSSO came and it has shown that what is the income of the farmer. and majority of the farmers' income now is coming from the other source of livelihood, whether it is labor or some other non-farm income. So it is going down. So it is not. One should admit that there is a distress. And the main point which I want to make, the distrust between the farmer and the government, till it will not be broken, then trust, you have to generate the trust between these two important stakeholders on these issues and laws. Till then, it is very difficult to resolve the situation of this.
No, you're very right. Distress and distrust. Distress and distrust, which is there, is not going to go away this easily. And that's something that the government will have to work on. The distrust may have come because of years of being ignored and abandoned and sidelined and betrayed. But it's now the onus is on the current government, even though the previous governments would have had a role to play in it. And as far as the rest of it is concerned, again, even if it is farmers in a few states, but if the agitation has gone on so long and often now results in violent incidents, we cannot continue to look the other way and continue to take this hard stand. At the end of the day, it is about livelihood for those people who really can't match up to what will drive them with this protest. It's their livelihood. Might as well listen to what they have to say and have a conversation to begin with. Completely out of time, I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us on this conversation.